You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, this is Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There you go. Well, the Iron Lady sings and that makes it official. Welcome to the big show, my family and friends. We certainly appreciate you guys being here and be a part of the show. As always, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives. We certainly appreciate it. And if you can, go over to iTunes and give us a 5-star review over there. Tell us how much you love the show, you appreciate the show. And if you hate the show, just don't bother, really. So there you go. We only want 5-star reviews over there. But as always, let people know about the show. Share the show. Reach out to your friends and family and just say, hey, man, you want to listen to something really smart? Because I keep watching you over on that tickety-talky thing or on Twitter, or whatever it's called this week. Tell them that, hey, Chris Voss will expand your brain. There's so many smart people and authors and brilliant minds that we have on the show that will change your life, that bring you their whole lifetime condensed into just an hour of wonderfulness, basically. We have an amazing new author on the show with us today. She's the author of the newest book that came out June 13th, 2023, called 22 Letters from Uncle Jack. How One Spirit Helped Me to Reveal My Inner Knowing. Aliana Ziva Seeger-Madsen joins us on the show. She's a medium, and so we're going to be learning some stuff about the business of being medium. I, of course, am an extra, extra large. No, I'm just kidding. That's a medium joke there. Aliana has a world of wonder and wisdom, and you can access it through her website at alianathemedium.com. My website is Chris Voss, the very fat, extra, extra large. All right, enough of that joke. She can also engage in one-on-one readings and be part of, and you can be part of her online mediumship events, I should say. I'm trying to learn to read today by visiting Instagram and Linktree. And we're going to get into all the details of all that good stuff. So welcome to the show, Aliana. How are you?
Thank you so much, Chris, and it's an honor to be here. So I'm here in Denmark now, and
Denmark.
Yeah, I've been excited about this all day, and it's like 1:30 in the middle of the night here in Denmark. But,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Up on the other side of the pond. Well, that's what we do to Europe because you guys. I don't know. There's a joke there somewhere. Are you based in Denmark?
Yeah, I'm located like 45 minutes south of Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Denmark. What a beautiful country over there. So give us your .coms again. Any other .coms that I missed that you want people to go check out?
Oh, it's fine. You can go to alianathemedium.com, and here you can go to my Instagram, and that is mainly where I'm called to show up daily and connect with my family.
There you go.
My online family.
The online family.
The online family, yeah, that soul fam.
So give us a 30,000 overview of your book, 22 Letters from Uncle Jack.
Yeah, well, 22 Letters from Uncle Jack. Uncle Jack is a spirit, and he came into my life back in 2018. Mm-hmm. I had for many years searched for answers and solutions for my mental and physical health. And in 17, I met one American teacher, actually here in Copenhagen in Denmark, in an osteopathy class. I started my younger year, doing humane physiotherapy and working in the equine industry. Mm-hmm. And it was like a big thing here in Denmark. We are a small country, so as soon as there's something that stands out, that was actually where I started my business when I was 25 years old. And I was always out there, looking to how I could improve myself, but with one goal, and that was always to live a life where I could feel free within myself and I could feel strong and healthy without the chronic pain I was always suffering mentally and physically. Yeah. So I met a teacher in Copenhagen, and he did an energy clearing on me for 10 minutes. And that day, everything left me, all that mental inner control. And then all my spirit guides, they started to show up and speak. And that same day, I was driving home from the city and started to speak to my grandfather that had passed a couple of years ago. And I would say the conversation with my grandfather was really open up, the mission for Uncle Jack. And now I call him Uncle Jack. He was not my uncle in real life, but he was a great teacher also when he was here. And I always had this thing where the great teachers in spirit, they show up, and that was something I experienced already as a child. So Uncle Jack, that was the name that him and we chose
There you go.
for the book here, to make everything also more grounded. That for me is very important, to make everything more grounded, because what I do here in Denmark often, that is weird and it's out of this world and is effed up. It's, so it's, it's something that I've been used to for years now,
There you go.
Yeah.
As a medium and doing that. Now, what is a medium specifically? Help people that are familiar with that, because, like I said, I flunked second grade, so I think I was thinking in terms of size.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like a natural calling, because everything that will show up, as I said, I grew up always with that belief that you gotta go through this school to go out and get a job. I was traditionally brought up here in Denmark, so I was always, by 11 years old, I was following that path. You gotta go into humane physiotherapy, because in that field you will always have a job and you can provide for yourself and this and that. But I was never thriving in that world, I was never thriving there. So being now a medium, for me, it was like coming home to myself. And when I talk about coming home to myself, it was about mastering the energy of my own natural born gifts, where I can listen to my own voice and I can listen to what is my physical mind body. For me, that is like my way of living now, that I always maintain that inner peace and balance, so I can always hear from what comes from outside of me. Because to me, being a medium, I'm very audio, that is one of the first things, is that they present themselves and I will always hear them through the right side of my mind. Here on the right side of the mind, there's like a soft spot here on the temple bone, and that's where, their voices, they come through very clearly, and I will hear them like I will hear your voice.
Wow. That is amazing. And so, when did you first know you had the powers of being a medium, and you started tuning in that, hey, maybe there's something going on here?
Yeah, as a child, being 6 years old, I had my grandfather on my father's side. He passed away, and as soon as I received the message, then I started to see him, and I started to hear from him. And the same day where we came home from the church, and, everything, was different, and, everyone in the family, you go through things, but being 6 years old, there's what I can remember now. And then there was the experience of what I remember, standing there, being that child. But that same night, he presented himself outside of my bedroom, and he showed up. And he said many words that I couldn't understand, because he was talking about my gifts and how I should continue to believe in myself. But, being 6 years old and receive messages like that. So, listening to my grandfather back then, and then I had my other grandfather that passed in 2015, so the gap, between these, I was very connected to both grandfathers. So it was like my grandfather that I lost when I was at around that age, he became like a safe place to go. And that's also how I felt with especially John Denver, that I would speak to quite a lot.
The John Denver, the singer? Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So, they would present themselves, those that I would feel very safe with. But, growing up, there was always an explanation to what I see. There was always an explanation. And, that would mainly come from my parents, that, eventually I would stop to talk about, all of these experiences, but it was a childhood of always being watched and what felt like being chased, because there was always a shadow standing around every corner.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like, who's that kid who's in that Bruce Willis movie is I See Dead People?
Yeah.
You ever feel kind of weird?
That's how my childhood years were. It really was. So going from, as a child, visiting old places, and my mom, and I know that today she will still say that we went to see all those places because she's very into history. But every time we would travel and see all those old places, I would always walk away with, the feeling of being chased and watched. And I had spirits for many years that really had a great impact on my mental health. So, yeah.
There you go. So in your book, 22 Letters from Uncle Jack, why are there only 22 letters? I'm always kind of curious at why people pick their titles. And give us a little more things as insight as what people are going to find in there.
Yeah, well, in 2020, my husband and our daughter Sophia, we had rented this cabin near the ocean side in Denmark, and we were sitting there enjoying the sunset, and everybody around our house knows Uncle Jack. So, and my daughter is very intuitive as well, so she sees Uncle Jack and she can hear what he says as well. And that evening there, I was going through a time where, I had shifted in 18 from a thriving business, here in Denmark, coming online world. So I felt that, I had to learn new things and pick up on new techniques and new strategies to find around, navigate in this online world. And often I really wanted my world to be fully aligned with everything. Like it would always be like driving around in your business here on the open road. I wanted everything to be so simple. So I was going through a lot of growth, especially in my business. And I was still getting confused often, like, okay, this childhood dream, are we there yet? That was like the experience. Are we there yet? And I was experiencing that I had so many old beliefs that kept on showing up when it came to me following my own success and what I've always seen for myself since I was a child. Because every time I would follow my joy here, follow my passion, I would even have family members that would show up and, look at me in a certain way. And, some of my family members, they would actually leave the room when I was talking about my dream. So, I was also privately going through a whole lot in my life of always keep going. So that summer evening, Uncle Jack, he said, I will tell you one thing. In 22 days, I can provide you with a daily letter. And this will clear your mind completely. It will release you from all the old beliefs, and it will empower you to change the way that you think. And know that everything that I will share with you, and it will come with channeled exercises for your mind to be completely free. And this is for you to always be able to listen to your mind. Because when we get past to what the mind is telling you, then he was like, then I can guarantee you that you will move forward after 22 days experiencing how you can always shift that energy within your mind. So I can be in that open energy of receiving. That is how I want to live my life. I always want to be open to receive and act on everything that is being given to me. So 22 days, I received the daily letter, and then I would journal down, my own experience of receiving the letter, and I would follow these exercises that he gave to me. So it's like having that best friend and mentor and teacher there with you that is always cheering on you. And, when I started this, it was a gift to myself. And it wasn't until a month later that he showed up and was like, we could provide this, for everyone else. So let this be a book. Let this be a book. So when I started out, I had no idea that it would take me to where I am now.
There you go. And now you have a book out. And you bill it as basically the process of coming home to yourself through spirituality, transformation, alignment, and reality, and finding out who you are by changing the way you think. Tell us what that means to you.
Well, to me, it's very simple. When you wake up in the morning, I have that. I always do this myself. When I wake up in the morning, I want my mind to be completely free. I want my mind to be peaceful, and I want to be able to tell the difference. And that is, that's how I started out. So after these 22 letters, I can now share with you that I do wake up in my mornings now, and all I can hear is my real voice.
Oh.
And when I say I can hear my real voice, to me it is that inner experience that I can now hear my mind. And to me it's a point here on the left side, right below the left clavicle bone. There's a soft point there. And this is often what I teach many of my students as well, that we tap into one point, because as soon as there's a connection here on this one point, and when those fingers, they naturally stop on this one point, then it will quiet the mind.
Really?
And when you experience that quiet mind, you will start to experience that this is me, this is my voice. And that experience where you can hear that this is my voice, and the mind will not ask all of those questions to what you got going on in your life, then it's this daily conversation, not only with yourself, but what I experienced, and this is why I'm talking about real life, is that as soon as you get to discover this beautiful connection and communication with the spirits that are around you, and I have people that will come back to me and say that, I'm now sitting here and I'm speaking to my dad, because those that will show up, that's out of my hands. So for many, I know the experiences that I've received now is that when they really open up and they allow themselves to have this real conversation daily, then it really empowers them to connect to what you already know. And that is where you can continue to create everything in life, from especially what they will share with you, because they see a greater picture that we don't always see ourselves.
There you go. And I'm looking over your website. You've got several services you offer there, and you do animal readings as well. Tell us a little bit about some of the things you offer there. And I'm always curious about the animal part too.
Yeah, that's my great passion, and for many years I work with the horses, especially here in Denmark. And now, since I've been here for more than 4 years online, I've always had these beautiful experiences. I speak to all the animals, and I also often get these beautiful experiences in my own personal life, where I go out and I get to really connect with beautiful snakes, or this year I even spoke to a beautiful crocodile. So I always get invited to these beautiful experiences. But when I work with my clients, then they will often show up overseas, and especially in the States, and they will show up with their animal. I don't have to be there actually in the room with them. I speak through the energy, and when I have this open heart to the animals, they will start to share all of their stories, and they will also speak of their struggles. So when clients, they come to me, it can be everything with a golden retriever with pain in their back, or it can be, a couple that, lost a cat 3 years ago, and they want to speak to it in the afterlife. So, speaking to the animals, often it is for people to have, that great understanding of what they can do themselves for their pet to live this, thriving and happy and vibrant life. But I will say, working with the animals, and especially on the readings, there are never 2 online sessions that is the same. I walk away and I always feel, sitting with the animals, that's always speaking to the best expert. So I walk away every time with something new, and I really treasure those moments that I get to share with people and their animals.
That's really insightful. And so people can book a reading on your website
Yeah.
and they can let's see, book a reading, and they can take and do one of your services. You've got psychic open mic for women, one-on-one group online reading, and one-on-one animal reading as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. And so they can do it online. They can get the reading they want. What sort of psychic help do you provide for women through your services there?
Well, I have many, have both men and women come to me. And when I do the mediumship events here, it is, mainly for women. And I've helped many women over the last years. And what I always experience is that, when women, they come to me, then they are often aware of their intuition. They're often aware, of their gifts, but they have, many of the women that I do meet, especially this year, they're still hiding out there. They're still, keeping their experiences to themselves. And, many of these women, often I meet women that are already entrepreneurs, and often I meet those women, that is still standing, and they are waiting to make that, step where they always want to make, the best, they want to create the best life, and they want to, run a business from their gifts, but, to actually take that step and say, this is me, this is what I do. Then there's still, I do sense, I get when I work with many of my clients in the States, I always experience this openness. There's a great openness when I work with my clients in the States compared to some of my European clients, especially some of the Danes here. Many of the Danes are still hiding, many of the Europeans. And what I see as soon as they sit there, all of these women, when we sit on the Zoom calls and they're in that community where they feel safe to express themselves, then it's like I don't have to do much. I really don't have to do much. As soon as they sit there with all of their gifts, then they start to experience how simple it is to do readings on themselves. That's always a great passion of mine, that these women, they know how to do readings on themselves, and seeing that growth when they start to do readings on each other, where they simply lean back and allow themselves. And that is a great thing for women often, where you can simply lean back and be all open to receive from another woman, where they know that this is always coming from a loving place and everything is heartfelt. So I often enjoy on those, events to lean back and let those women, sit with the mic and really speak of their own life.
Yeah. What do you find most people find hard to accept or skeptical about medium services, and how do you overcome that?
I'll say, I have many people that reach out to me with questions, and there's always a difference, for me, of those people that reach out with questions and those clients, that actually go to a website and book a reading themselves. Because, those that invest in themselves and go have a reading with me, they never ask questions. They want to make the most out of the hour, when they are there. It's like it's like skip to the good part here. But, those people that will reach out to me and ask a whole lot of questions, it is often of what to expect from a reading, and what can they show up with. And I'll say I've received more of, this skepticism, in my private life, and often also here in the entrepreneur world, whether it be in Denmark or online. And it's more of how, how. And then I have many people often that is questioning my story, and especially my healing journey in life, and, everything that I actually did overcome, from my mental and physical health to now live this life where I've been healthy for 4 years now. I never get ill anymore. So it's like, I've had many, I would say more people question actually my story and my journey, and not so much my gifts in mediumship. So it has been, my experience that it's more questioning, everything that I did in my healing journey. That's where I get most of my questions.
When you talk about your pain and suffering that I guess has ended over the last 4 years, was there something that happened to you when you were a child, when you were growing up, that caused the chronic pain that you were having and issues?
Yeah. And that is, when I share these stories, then for me it is, and that's my own words, that is my way of sharing how it felt. But spirits, they always took over my mind, and they took over my physical body. And, often in my life, I've been experiencing a numbness, and it's also that kind of numbness laying in bed and being, not being able to move, having my husband carry me out of my bed. I've ended up in the hospital because of spirits, and I've become ill with fevers and colds, and I would always, in my entire 20s, have chronic fascia and muscle and joint pain all the time, where often I had to lay flat down because I couldn't walk. And then I would always have, their voices speak within my mind, where it was like standing on, one of those great train stations in London, where, they are always in that rush hour. So, often when I would go to sleep, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I would get waking up in the middle of the night. So, spirits for many years. And, when it's that reality of never having a quiet moment, it has been affecting my lymphs, my immune. So yeah.
And did it? You moved to Denmark 4 years ago?
I've always lived in Denmark, but my mission has always been in the States. So it's like it was, making that jump of running a business here in Denmark to
I see.
to move everything across the sea.
There you go. So this has been pretty interesting. What have we touched on that people should know about you and what you do?
I'll say, I actually received, a message from Spirit right before joining you here, Chris, because there were, and the intention also of like being here with you and your online family here, because there's a great worry going on in the collective. That is what I hear from my spirit guides, and there's, this questioning everything, questioning your life, questioning what is maybe going on outside of you. So it's like this, it's like a doubt that is, out there flying around on the blue sky. And I did hear that the message today for your family is that there's a simple way now to be free of that worry and that self-doubt, simply by engaging in a new conversation. And when I hear from spirits, then I'm also curious of the spirits that shows up here with you, and that was actually a strong energy that I was invited to lean into. And, before I actually met you here face to face, then I heard from one spirit that is present in your space that said that Chris is one of those men where you want to sit down and really pay attention. This is where you want to sit down and receive everything from his wisdom. And leaning into that energy, then the same spirit said, we got to do something. We got to do something. We got to bring a message about this self-doubt. Got to bring a message about this worry, because engaging in a new conversation in life, I hear from this spirit, like I'm sitting here with you, this is me engaging in a new conversation with you, and engaging in new conversations now where you feel that your self-worth becomes more and more vibrant. That is what the spirit here is talking of. So engaging in new conversation where you feel self-worth is where that natural worry and that natural self-doubt will leave everyone. So whether it be a coworker or friend or joining a podcast, that all of the new conversations that one will start to engage, they can experience over 9 days how simple it is to experience a strong presence. And I do hear, we are here in the upcoming holiday season, so I do hear that many here in your online family, that they can expect that those that they knew will show up like a beautiful breeze around the shoulders and neck, on the lower legs, and acknowledging that presence around you, that unconditional love. They still have a mission here with us. So if they see that we are struggling in some way, if they see we sit there with all these, questions of life themes, they want to bring an answer that is very clear so we can move forward and know exactly what to act on, because many these days are invited to act on things now, and then especially until the 12th of December. And we are now, in its traditions, and, we have New Year's and an upcoming year, and we want to embrace that, all of us, with the positivity, and many, they can start now, to make great shift now. So engaging in this conversation can also be engaging in the conversation with yourself of what you would love to see happen in your life now, because that is, I hear from the spirit that's in your space, of starting that conversation of what you would love to see happen in your life now. This is not about the future, but what you would love to see happen in your life now, that it will shift the energy, and many of these old ways of thinking, they will be thrown out into the bin.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the new ways I'm thinking about the spirit that's in my space is he needs to start paying rent. So there you go. I'm just kidding. We do the jokes on the show, of course.
Yeah.
So this has been super insightful, and people can reach out to you. They can go on your website, click the book of reading, the psychic open mic for women, the one-on-one group online readings. So do a lot of families take that up, group online readings, or what kind of groups usually subscribe to that?
Yeah, I would say this year I've experienced many couples that show up.
Oh, couples. There you go.
Yeah. And, often it is to have this understanding of, let's say, what a wife or what a husband and what a partner is going through after a loss. And I would say I've had many of my clients this year, they've been, I would say, the age of average in like 45 to 60, where, going through grief, having the loss of parents and also siblings, where you really stop in life and you reconsider your own way of living. And so the group readings, I've had a lot of couples actually that shows up. And then I also have, women where it's like girlfriends hanging out with a glass of wine and and they want to know about, their life themes. And that is actually why I love to do group readings as well, because if they can fit 4 or 5 people into a Zoom call, be my guest, that is what we can do to have also more fun about mediumship, because I love and as you said, we have fun here on the show. I love everything about mediumship that is fun as well. So I have many of my own experiences where even comedians, they show up in spirit, so I can get by my day with more laughs.
There you go. I have an idea. I was just sitting here thinking when you were talking about the group thing, I was like, maybe we should have a bunch of my family members on, because normally what we do with some of my family members is we put them in a room, we throw holy water on them and say, the power of Christ compels you. And that's been working lately. They're still puking up pea soup. So maybe you can help them. So give us your .coms one more time as people go out, so people can get to know you on the interweb and reach out.
Yeah. AlianaTheMedium.com. That is where you can connect with me, and you can be redirected to my Instagram there. And that's where I hang out. That is I always say that it's my pit stop. That's where I sit around the fire. That is what I love to do in life. So when I'm on Instagram, I sit around the fire and I get something warm to drink, and then I get to sit there with all of my friends.
Yeah, you've got a lot of great Instagram videos and conversations that you've got put up there as well. People can check out.
Yeah.
Order it up, folks, wherever fine books are sold. 22 Letters from Uncle Jack, How One Spirit Helped Me to Reveal My Inner Knowing, which is, kind of sounds similar to a spirit that I used to use named Jack to reveal my inner knowing, but it was Jack Daniels. Sorry, I had to do that joke. I had to do that setup. My bad. That's not true.
I know him as well.
Don't do that, people. It reveals a very bad inner knowing, and you wake up the next morning and go, "What the hell happened?" Don't do that, people. So order up, folks, wherever fine books are sold. Thank you very much, Aliana, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been an absolute honor joining you here. And
an honor as well. Thank you very much, and continued success there. Enjoy Denmark. I need to come over there one of these times. It's such a beautiful country.
Yeah, we got a tower here now in my local area, and it's one of the top tourist attractions now here in Denmark. Yeah? People, they come from all around the world to stand on that tower. So when I'm standing on that tower, then I can see that New York is in that direction, LA is that direction, and I'm traveling in 1 week. So now I've been standing there for 4 years, looking in that direction, know that someday I will go again.
You're welcome anytime to come visit us over here and all that good stuff. So thank you very much for coming on the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss, Facebook.com. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.